In 1939, the London, Midland and Scottish Railway in Derby built some of the first ever trains to have double leaf operated sliding doors. The Class 502s, as they were designated, ran from 1939 till 1980 on the modern Merseyrail Northern Line. But when they were built, they ran from Liverpool Exchange Station to Southport and Ormskirk. These, however, are not the units we are looking at today. We're looking at their replacements, the Class 507s. Welcome back to another Van Manio Stragglers video. In this series, I look at Britain's oldest units and see what they're like in the 21st century. Previously on this series, I would just review an old unit and talk about its brief history. But, with my growth in recent weeks focusing on longer documentary style videos, I want to try a new video format, where first I go in depth about the 507s, then review them, and then at the end talk about their future. I hope you enjoy this video and this slightly different video format, and do consider liking and subscribing if you do. As always, do let me know in the comments if I miss anything out or if I say anything that's incorrect. Thank you. By the late 1970s, the Class 502s and similar Class 503s were beginning to reach the end of their lifespan on the newly nicknamed British Rail Merseyrail lines. In 1976, the first British Rail Class 313s were brought into service out of London King's Cross, with these proving to be a huge upgrade to the first generation DMUs and first generation EMUs they replaced. With this success, British Rail decided to temporarily withdraw 4 Class 313s for use in Merseyside. The Class 313s were third rail powered units, the same equipment used to power the Merseyrail systems, so British Rail wanted to see how a 313 would operate on Merseyrail, with the potential for similar brand new units to be constructed at a later date. 2 313 units ran clearances on the Southport, Ormskirk and Kirkby Garston lines. 313013 and 313063 were the 2 units used for clearance running. British Rail decided a similar unit would be the perfect replacement for the nearly 40-year-old 502s and 503s. British Rail initially ordered 47 units, designated Class 507s, but cost issues forced this number to be reduced to 38, and then 30 by 1978. Overall, 33 Class 507s were built by British Rail Engineering Limited at their Holgate Road Works in York between September 1978 and October 1979. The 507s were built as 3-car trains with a top speed of 75 miles an hour. The units would be maintained at Birkenhead North, Kirkdale and Hall Road depots. The first units were delivered to Birkenhead North depot in September 1978, with the first test run occurring a month later. The similar Class 508s would join the Merseyrail fleet from 1982, taking longer to arrive due to the units first working out of London Waterloo until the Class 455s were introduced into service. On the 25th of October 1978, a Royal Special involving 507-001 and 507-002 took the Queen and several other royal family members across the network on a special service. When the Queen reached Kirkby, she officially opened the Merseyrail network with its new look. Just a few days later, on the 1st of November, 507-001 ran the first passenger service from Southport to Liverpool Central, incorporating a Merseyrail New Electrics headboard. Over the next few years, the Class 507s continued being brought into service, finally replacing the last Class 502 in October 1980. Following sectorisation, the units were branded under the Regional Rail's Merseyrail brand, incorporating a yellow, black, grey and white livery. After privatisation, the Merseyrail board took over running of the Northern and Wirral lines, incorporating all Class 507s and 508s. The current franchise is joint run by Serco Bellio under the Mersey Travel Board. Between 2002 and 2005, The 507s and 508s underwent large refurbishments undertaken by Alstom at Eastleigh Works. This refurbishment saw the units fitted with dot matrix passenger information systems, LED lighting, new 2x2 seating, CCTV, as well as full interior refreshes. Since this refurbishment, the units have seen little in additional work, except new liveries and seat maquette to fit with the newest Merseyrail branding. The units are now the oldest national rail trains in service, with just the 1972 and 1973 tube stock being older in terms of passenger operations, at least at the time of recording. Just before we get onto the next part of the video, if you are enjoying this video so far, do consider liking and subscribing, as well as checking out my channel membership. For as little as $2.99 a month, you can get several great perks, such as priority replies to comments, early access to new videos, member shoutouts, member-only photo and status updates, as well as personal connections to me on social media. You can check this out by clicking on the join button next to the subscribe button. Thank you very much. Well, we've looked at the history of these units, so now let's look at what the units had to offer when I travelled on them in 2023, before we then look at the future of the 507s. My journey on the 507s started at James Street and was just a brief hop around the Merseyrail network, eventually ending back at James Street. The units, for passengers, aren't anything brilliant. They are quite noisy and have no aircon. The seats are okay at best, but nothing incredible. The information displays and announcements worked well, with the ride quality being surprisingly good for trains over 40 years old. The trains have wheelchair-friendly areas, but no level boarding. The units also have no toilets, so if you're heading out to Chester on one of the longer routes, make sure you go before. I've been on quite a few 507s, and I don't mind them that much, to be honest. They certainly feel old and are outdated in several aspects, not least being inaccessible. But they have served Liverpool well over the 40 years of operation. But maybe it's time for something newer to fly the Merseyrail flag. So overall, these aren't brilliant units, but an experience nevertheless. Now on to the future. At the time of recording, in January 2024, all Class 508s have been withdrawn from service, with the Class 507s on their last legs. All the units will be replaced by brand new Class 777 battery electric hybrid units. All Class 507s will be removed by the end of 2024. Personally, I really like these new units, even if they are currently unreliable, breaking down due to their doors failing and the battery on the trains not working properly. The 777s also have uncomfortable seats, but they are still a huge upgrade to the previous 507s and 508s, incorporating level boarding, plugs, better PIS systems, air conditioning, the list could go on. However, the 507s and 508s will go down in railway history, as serving the Merseyside area for well over 40 years, and serving Liverpudlians very well. It'll be a shame to see these units leave service, but they've done a stellar job, and I'm sure the 777s will be worthy 21st century replacements. If you want to travel on 507s, you probably only have a few months left. They currently work mostly on the Southport line, and I believe the Northern line is now completely 777 operation. The 777s are an upgrade. If you think that they aren't, then clearly you might like old trains a bit too much. The 777s could allow for the Merseyrail network to expand hugely, with the batteries in them allowing them to run along non-third rail electrified routes. Third rail legally can't be expanded due to the safety concerns over it, so the fact that the 777s are hybrid battery means that Merseyrail could open new lines with the 777s running. I do hope you've enjoyed this Stragglers video, and have enjoyed the new format of starting off with a history, a review of the units, and then the future. Do let me know in the comments about what unit I should look at next. As always, thanks so much for watching. Do consider liking and subscribing if you did enjoy. See you in the next video. Goodbye.